Hey YouTube, it's your favorite indie author Kay McCoy here with some bite-sized content to help you along your author journey. So, as you've seen from the title, I am here to talk about all things Author Nation. There will be two videos because, again, as many of you know by now, Author Nation is the conference. Reader Nation is strictly for the readers. So they are two separate things, and I was fortunate enough to participate in both of those things. As you can see here, I got my planner. Shout out to Book Vault for this because it came in a clutch in more ways than one. So I made a list in here for Author Nation overview and for Reader Nation. So yeah, I'm going to drop both videos this weekend. So today you will see Author Nation and tomorrow you'll hear me talk about Reader Nation. So yeah, all right, let's see. It was a lot. There was a lot happening and it was great. All good things considered. My flight was great. Actually, this was probably one of the better flights that I had with United. I don't know if the universe decided to give me an olive branch. Don't know. Don't care. Just glad that I got there safe and sound and all my valuables arrived with me. As usual, I love my king, aka my king bed. I love having my own space because I am what I guess you call an active introvert. Or there's another word that I used on the podcast, introvertus, I think is how you pronounce it. Someone who's an introvert, but is willing to step into slightly larger leadership roles to get things done. So I really do require 8 hours of sleep. I do require early mornings to do yoga, to look over my schedule, to just kind of slowly start my day before I leave my room and get started. So I was very appreciative to that. Wow. This year, I also volunteered as a Time Lord. I don't know what to tell y'all. Volunteering is it's in my veins. I've been doing it since high school. I love doing it. It's a great balance. It's not slightly behind the curtain, but I'm also in service of others and helping people be them best selves. So I really enjoy doing that. And I think as long as Author Nation will have me, I'll continue to volunteer because I genuinely like doing it. It's one of my favorite things. And I get to meet really cool people. Like our capture crew member, Jody, shout out to you because if I had to do that by myself, I don't think it would have went as smoothly as it did because it's a lot of work recording and all that stuff. But anywho, that's another side of Author Nation. Unless you're interested in volunteering, you don't really need to know about that. But if you are interested in volunteering, I know some people that know some people. So if you are interested in attending Author Nation, and again, you are someone who enjoys volunteering, interacting with people, helping events go off smoothly, slide in my DMs. I'll put you in contact with the right people. So now that I got that out of the way, let's get into the conference. Y'all, there were so many so many good sessions. The breakouts for me were definitely Emily. She was there from Ingram Spark. The amount of information overload that she threw at us, she came in hot and fast, and I loved it. Because again, we know certain things as we continue to develop in our authorship and book publishing in general, but she gave it to us. Basically, it was the lens of book publishing, but specifically for Ingram Spark, obviously for obvious reasons, because she's employed by Ingram Spark, it makes sense. But the overview that she gave us was it was a crash course into book publishing with emphasis to Ingram Spark, and I loved it. They were a great bunch. She and I guess they were her bosses or her team members. They were on it. They were friendly. Everyone was knowledgeable. They wanted to ask questions. They wanted you to ask questions, and not only that, she wanted to answer questions, and she was very detailed. And I love that because I'm a direct person. And so I know when you go to a conference, sometimes it feels like they're giving you the general overview of something. They're not answering questions that are specific to your authorship. And that is true. So I love that after her session, she was able to answer questions. There was someone who asked a very specific questions about like having the phone services available again with Ingram Spark. She didn't hesitate, straight up answered it. It was great. Also, ML Banner, chef's kiss. He spoke to me the most, and I don't know if it's because of what I do in my 9 to 5 or if it's a topic that I know I need to be more knowledgeable in. But ML Banner covering copyrights was just, y'all, you had to be there. It was so much fun. And how he reminded us that we have our superpowers and how to protect and invest in ourselves. And he didn't just give you like well, you need to go to this website.com. Like, he was very concise and he gave you like exactly the reason why you need to do those things and what happens when you don't do those things. There was, I can't remember his last name, but he had a presentation on gaming. And let's see, I'm trying to remember what day it was, but that class was really cool because I wasn't expecting to pull so much material from his class. Like I wanted to attend his session because one of my future works is based on someone similar. Like she is a well, her character, she will work in that field. I don't want to give too much away. But he actually created a game and he walked you through step by step. I learned some new terminology. Well, it's new in this. Okay, here, it's new in this realm. His last name, I'm pretty sure I'm going to say it wrong, but David Shearer, Sherrer, gamifying your intellectual property. I mainly attended again because one of my characters is going to work in this field, and two, I'm all about intellectual property. Like you already know if you watched this channel long enough that I talked about estate planning and all that stuff, and that's something that I'm going to work on even more next year. So being able to combine those two elements was really intriguing to me. So I'm really glad that I went there. And he was very specific about games or stories we play and how participating in your books helps readers gain a deeper connection to you, and you can do that through gaming. And I'm more interested in the realm of video games, but he took it back. Like I said, he came with a board game, which I loved. And I thought, oh, wow, like he really, again, we talked about IP, direct sales. Again, that's something I'm still venturing into, so I needed to know about that. And like how being there for direct sales, you have retail opportunities, there's conventions, you can do it online, crowdfunding campaigns, because again, Kickstarter is out here kicking butt and taking names, and everybody is wanting in on that, which is really cool. So I love that. But he introduced me to a term, like I said, it's not a new to me term, but it's new in this context, how crunchy you want your game to be, which is it's basically about rules and math in general. I use the term crunchy when I'm writing my stories. Like when something comes across crunchy to me, it's like you have an idea and you just need to chew on it a little bit longer so that it makes more sense. And so that's the way I use that word. But it was nice to have it in an authorship, like outside of the authorship point of view, which was pretty cool. There were like so many great, I mean, y'all, I had a blast at Author Nation, just the classes alone. There was one more, and I'm trying to remember. Direct Sales Strategies with Naomi Rawlings. She's a historical Christian romance novelist. Y'all, go follow her on all the things, because she made me understand Amazon to a level that I admittedly probably should have known. But she made me, like, I finally feel like I understand Amazon now, and I don't bristle when I hear the name Amazon. But yeah, she literally broke it down like how you can collect reader emails, build loyal audiences, what authors do best with direct sales, like to kind of gauge whether or not this is something you might want to pursue. She really like Amazon made sense after that was the main takeaway that I got from her class, and I loved it. I honestly, I needed it. And then she also talked about third party fulfillment, which is really cool because I use D2D, which is nice for the most part, but it's always nice to have like mini print runs when you need to go to like uh, conventions or in person events. So it's always nice to have those options, and I'm glad I wrote those down. And then she said something that I feel like every author should know, so I'm going to say it here. Never make an enemy out of a reader. Analyze, offer free items, thank them for their support. You want to be gracious to your readers. And I can't begin to tell y'all how many times I've been online and I've seen authors just do the complete opposite of that, to the point where one key point that I made in my workshop about making anthologies work for you, like I think I harped on it like 2 or 3 times. I knew when I practiced that I would talk about it, but I wanted it to set in, so I made sure to talk about it 3 times. But like, you as an author, this is a business. You are a small business, and you, more importantly, if depending on what type of author you are the face of your business. So again, you should never make an enemy out of your reader. You always want to be gracious to your reader, polite and professional, and thank them for even wanting to interact with you, wanting to read your books, wanting to support you. And just I felt like that was a really key takeaway from her class as well. Also, again, I feel more confident and knowledgeable about Amazon, which I was not expecting in a direct sales class. But I love the points that she made. So, and again, she is a multi 6-figure store sales author on Zon. So, like, I was going to walk away with something out of that class. So now, my presentation overall, I feel that it went really well. We had a small turnout, which is what I was expecting because anthologies is a very small niche. I mean, that's pretty much how I make my bread and butter as an indie author, and it affords me the opportunity to continue writing and developing my skills as an author, which I love. And I'm going to talk more about that in December because when I got back from Author Nation, I received some really, really good news. So I'm not going to talk about it now because this is strictly Author Nation business. So yeah. Now, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention overall. Author Nation, again, it was great. I got to meet up with new author friends. I got to talk with authors that were also featured in the anthology that we participated in this year. More about that in video too. And yeah, it was great. Also, I got this cool thing. It looks like a mic, doesn't it? But it's not. It's honestly, this is, and I'm not just saying this because obviously I'm in love with Author Nation, but this is by far one of the best tumblers I ever got. Just side note, I almost lost it twice during Author Nation, and I'm just glad that it made it back to West Virginia with me. But yeah, so having said that, I this is the thing that people always ask me, like, would you recommend Author Nation for so-and-so type of author, this type of author? Being an author is something that you want to make a business, whether it be full-time, part-time, whatever your journey is as far as being an author. I will always recommend Author Nation just because the amount of vetting that goes into the process of finding quality speakers, making sure that you are in a safe environment. And y'all, I'm not gonna hold you. When I first started going to Author Nation, was not a fan of the location because I thought to myself, why would you have an author conference in Sin City? Like, that's just asking for trouble. And that was genuinely how I felt about going to Author Nation. Like, and it's wild because my close author friends love Vegas. They love it. Like LLOOVE, love Vegas. And I was just like, I don't want to do this. But luckily, I had my friends again. They are extroverted people. They adopted me, so I go where they go. And like the first like time I went, I just basically observed and report and took notes. I kind of hid in the background, what have you, and I could see like the genuine care and the genuine connection between everybody. And when I say everybody that attends Author Nation, they are there. Obviously they're there to learn how to better their business. um, the speakers, they take the sessions seriously, and when you do that and you find yourself in this space with like-minded people such as yourself, and it makes you want to do better, like the how do I say it, like the energy is like, it's contagious, like it's electric when you get there, because you see everyone's excited and just bustling and just getting everything ready, and it's like, it's one of my favorite things about Author Nation, because we are from all different parts of the world. um, Everyone is in different stages of their authorship. Either they are about to like start their authorship, or they're about to hit six figures. Like that is literally how the pendulum swings. And it's so exciting because you never know who you're going to meet. You never really know which session is going to like stand out for you, and you never know which session is going to click. Like I had a list of sessions that I wanted to attend in person, and then as a Time Lord, like AKA aviation or AV crew, like there are sessions that I had to be in to record. And it was just like, I walked away from so many sessions just like surprised that I was able to take anything from it, because it wasn't even on my list. I was just there in attendance because I, had to help make sure that the session went smoothly. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Like there was a thriller panel, and I don't know if you were there, you were there. Like I helped Mike Mary Stone. I had no idea who she was. No idea. I was just in there minding my business, and I was like, attention all authors, when you come up to the mic, make sure to speak directly into the mic. Thank you. And there was just like the energy in that panel group was like insane. And when she said her name, and like I could see, because again, I was sitting at the recording table with our caption crew member Jody, and you could see like Cheryl was the first, was like she was one of the panelists, and like she was like, I know you. And I was just like, I don't know who is she. And then you could hear like the room, like everyone started murmuring, and it was all excited. I was just like, oh my gosh. Like I was just expecting to sit in the panel and hopefully like learn some tidbits about how they write, specifically what they write. And I walked away having 4 new authors to follow, technically 5, because now I'm following Mary Stone. Like five authors, like in a genre completely different of my own. But it was such a vibe. I honestly, that for me, hold on, is that on? No, it's not on here, but I should have wrote it down here. The panels this year were everything. And I say this as someone who I attended, well, no, I've attended several panels. I've participated in a few panels. I actually got to talk on one panel last year with, on Reader. Well, yeah, it was for Reader Nation. And I got to talk on one panel, and I felt like, man, they like, that's how you panel. It was great. Like the romance panel was amazing. The thriller panel that I volunteered to help assist with, that was, I was not expecting the amount of gems and like encouragement and like motivation that I found in that panel. And it was dope. I loved it. James Patterson was supposed to speak, but James Patterson, y'all, like, he up there, like he up there. So when he was not feeling well, like obviously we found out like a few hours before he was not coming, which was kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. But the fact that we got to talk to him live, that man is so funny. He had me in stitches, and I was still like learning like about his authorship and like his span of his work, y'all, is like, I mean, I've known about it, like I've learned things about him from since high school, and to like sit in a room with all these other authors and all be excited to hear like words of wisdom from James Patterson, and this man just had us in stitches. I was like, is this an interview or is this a comedy skit? Like I was dying. Just the way he talked to the interviewer cracked me up, because he reminded me of like those old heads like at home who just say anything off the dome. They don't care. But in the end, you end up walking away with like little pearls of wisdom that you weren't expecting to get. You're like, man, get out of here. And he's just like, yeah, he's still sharp as a tack. And I love that for him. I was like, sir, why are you giving this interviewer such a hard time? Because again, as someone who interviews people, like I got to see both sides of that. And I was just like, James Patterson, sir, continue just being your best self. Like he had me in stitches, and it was so nice. I love the interview. I wish he could have been there, but at the same time, I don't want him to get sick. So I'm glad that his people kept him home and didn't have him out here in these Author Nation streets. Maybe next time, but for now it's totally fine. So speaking of Author Nation streets, like I don't think y'all noticed, but like this is the apron that I got from Autocrick. Because after recording, I'm going to go ahead and start working, because this is my lab coat now. Like. So I'm going to wear this for now, like on the weekends, whenever I get ready to sit down and write specifically stories that I'm going to utilize for Autocrick. Like I'm wearing this now. It's my favorite thing. So, but yeah, so overall that was Author Nation. And I gotta say, it was great. I can't recommend it enough. I know the price tag. I know a lot of people will bristle at the price tag. I get it. The way this economy is set up, anybody with a lick of sense will bristle at it too. But you have options. So before I get into that, I think I covered a little bit. Why do you want to attend? Like these are questions that the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 questions are what I hear the most about Author Nation. And so I'm going to address those now that I'm at the end of the video. So number 1, who do you want to see? Or actually, no, I don't want that to be number 1. Let's go with why. Because why is probably one of my favorite questions to ask. It's the question that gets you somewhere. So I always like to ask why. So why? Why do you want to attend Author Nation? Like you have to be very clear about that, because the clearer you are about why you want to do this, what your intentions are when you get there, that I feel will determine your overall like experience with Author Nation. And I think for the most part, I haven't met anyone that had this issue, but I think for the most part, when people set themselves up to come to Author Nation, they don't really know their why. But good thing is you have roughly like 10 months to figure out your why. Whatever that is for you, just be honest. And if it helps, get a planner and write this down so you can start thinking about it. Why do you want to attend? Is it to connect and network with other authors? Do you want to speak to a specific vendor? Are you taking on your author journey for the first time? Are you looking to learn more about how to not only improve in your craft, but how do you feel about marketing? Is there a part of your authorship that you want to work on more and that you feel you don't have necessarily the tools, or you're not sure where to start? What is your why? That is number 1. That's the first thing you should ask yourself. Number 2, what do you want to gain more insight on? Again, we kind of touched on that with the why, but do you want to improve in your writing somehow? Be specific. What is it about your writing that you want to improve on? For me, narration. Sometimes I feel, especially with my recent story, the one that I'm getting ready to drop, not next year, but the year after that, because I'm a 1 or 2 publish a year girly. So there's one story I feel I can not necessarily be more descriptive in, but I feel like I'm not getting the emotional payoff for y'all that I want, which is why it's scheduled for a 2027 release and not 2026. But anywho, what is it? What do you want to gain insight on? Do you want to gain insight on, oh, book report right here? Do you want to gain more insight on how sales work, or are you still struggling with how to get the algorithm to agree with you so that more people see your work? Do you want more insight on how to manage your social media? Do you need help with vetting a VA or a PA? What is it that you want to gain more knowledge in? How? How will you afford the conference? Y'all, that is the that question. I'm not going to say how many times I've had people ask me that question. But yeah, how will you afford the conference? Because it's important and you have to talk about money at some point. There's a lot of money in that room in Author Nation, but you have to count your own coin first before you can get to that place. Traveling to the conference, having a budget while you're there, how much, it's a lot. Conference tickets, luckily, Author Nation is one of the few conferences, because I do look, one of the few conferences that offer options for you as far as how to pay for the conference ticket. They obviously, you're at the Horseshoe. I think next year they're going to be at Paris Hotel, but they're sisters. Like, you could walk in between Horseshoe and Paris and you'll be just fine. Honestly, that's pretty much what I did for like the first 3 days. I did not leave the hotel, as it were. I didn't have to. But yeah, traveling to and from the conference, your hotel room, also Vegas as a whole, I'm sure those hotels have seen some ish. Okay. So there is a hotel fee, and I almost forgot about this fee this year. It's the incidental fee. So it's incidental fee. Depending on the hotel you're in, the price will vary. I can tell you that this year I stayed at the Horseshoe, and at the Horseshoe, this incidental fee, it's per day. So at Horseshoe this year, it was $50 per day. Now, some hotels, it might be more. Some hotels, it might be less. If you need to know what that is, depending on where you stay, ask that question. How much is the incidental fee? Don't go in half stepping like I did and had to find out via Zoom that it was not per stay, not per day. Oh, actually, no, I said that backwards. It was per day, not per stay, because I thought it was one sum, and it wasn't. It was per day. So I had to scramble and hustle and reach out to my bosses to cover that incidental fee. Yeah. So yeah, don't forget taxes are higher in Vegas as well too. So keep that in mind. Your flight, if you live out of state or if you can drive, what does that look like? Again, depending on when you get there, what are you doing? And again, why are you attending is important, because you might be attending simply as an author who wants to work on your business. You might also be fortunate enough to get a table for Reader Nation. So again, your finances are going to look a little different. So we could talk about that. Like, it could be its own video. If that's something y'all want, let me know in the comments. I don't want this video to get too long. So now, again, we talked about where you might be staying, and then who do you want to see? Who do you want to network with at the conference? If you want to schmooze with the six-figure authors, I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna judge you. That's your business. If you want to meet up with the TikTok titans, as it were, you can set that up. Author Nation is really like gracious when it comes to meetups. I think this year there was like a Christian authors meetup, which was really nice because again, we're in Sin City. I'm sure they needed to rally and support each other. As always, there's always romance authors. We always out here knucking and bucking. Nonfiction writers, there's BIPOC meetups, all sorts of stuff. Like if you're into D&D, fantasy, there's tons of meetups for that. If you are, even if you write like wide to market, like if you have your books available everywhere, there's meetups for that. There are so many meetups. This video would take like an additional 10 minutes for me to tell you about all of them. But like Author Nation, again, they're very gracious about helping you meet up with the fellow authors. So who you want to see, who you want to network with, that's great. Also, a lot of the vendors had meetups, and y'all, the vendors, like, put some respect on these vendors' names, like Redzy, Pro Writer A, again, AutoCrick, like they're out here. And then like everyone was so welcoming. Like that's the first word that comes to mind. Like everyone was genuinely welcoming at Author Nation. And I think that's what made it such an enjoyable experience. So if you have a certain mindset that would not match with that, that's probably the only time where I would say, okay, maybe Author Nation isn't for you. Like you have to be ready to receive and ready to walk in with an open mind and just ready to receive goodness. Because if you're not, and you're constantly like in a crabs in a barrel like mentality, you already have set yourself up to fail for Author Nation, because you have this like wall that cannot be penetrated. So yeah, don't take this the wrong way when I say this, because I really genuinely do. I want everyone to go to Author Nation. But you do have to be honest with yourself, especially considering how much it costs to physically be in that space. But mentally is also important too. And again, like if you're not in a mental space and you just don't have that mental capacity to be that welcoming and that gracious, again, we as authors and vendors, like we're all business owners, but we have one singular goal. Like we all want to succeed and we want to work with other people. I know that's not how a lot of people operate nowadays. It's scary outside, y'all. It really is. And I get that. But that's the one time where I will say, okay, maybe Author Nation isn't for you this year. Maybe that's something you need to work on before you begin your journey and before you are like ready to put a conference like Author Nation on your agenda. But other than that, like y'all, it was dope. I I loved my time at Author Nation. And again, I was one of those people. I was like, why is it a week long? It's a whole week. Like y'all ain't got bills to pay. Why is it a whole week? But now this ain't my first rodeo. I was able to work in the morning. Like, cause I work remote, I was able to work remote. I was able to then meet my friends for breakfast, do a little light networking before volunteering. And then in between the day, like have lunch, meet other authors and still be helpful and like see people and just take in so much incredible intel. Y'all, I'm really looking forward to next year. So, speaking of next year, this wasn't on my my notes, but my plans for next year for Author Nation 2026. Obviously, first thing up, I'm going, come hell or high water. And again, we talked about like costs and stuff like that. So I took a little seasonal job, just a little something to kind of help with, expenses next year. I'm not going to pitch for next year to like for a session because one, I am also a how do I say this? Like I also have classes over on indieauthortraining.com and they are about to make an announcement soon. So I have a feeling that I'll be busy with that. Not only that, but I want to do an overview of all of the courses and workshops that I offer before I get into pitch mode for Author Nation. Because again, the people that they vet, like you really have to give them a stellar pitch because anybody can pitch nowadays and be like, yo, I could teach about this, that, and the third, but like they really do vet y'all. Like it's a process. And I want to make sure that I am mentally prepared for that, and I don't feel that I will be on top of everything else. And also the other reason why I will mention in Reader Nation. So I'm going to end this video here, and then I will tell y'all all about Reader Nation and my plans for that in the video that's going to drop tomorrow, which will be Sunday. So thank you again so much for joining me today. This one is a long one. I normally don't do like really long formats, and I did say bite-sized content, so maybe I should do a timeline or something, so that way y'all can jump to the good parts or the parts that relate more to you. But yeah, it was a lot. So that's why this video was a lot. I wasn't going to, break up Author Nation point 1 and then Author Nation point 2. It's a lot, and it's a lot for a reason, and it's a lot in the best ways. So if you made it to this, to the end of the video, thank you so much. Let me know if you also attended Author Nation, let me know what your highlights were. I'm really curious because I know mine are different from everyone else's. And if you've never attended Author Nation, what type of classes, or not classes, but what type of workshops are you interested in? Which vendors are you interested in meeting? Because I could go on and on about Vendor Day. Vendor Day, to me, that's like a kid. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve. I freaking love Vendor Day. So I could go on and on about Vendor Day, but that could be a whole nother video. We're not going to do it now that we're at the end of this one. So yeah, if you've never attended Author Nation and you're curious to know more, let me know in the comments what questions you might have. Who knows, I might make a video out of it. And if you did attend Author Nation, I would love to know what was your favorite part of Author Nation this year. So that's it. And that is all. Thank you again so much for watching this surprisingly long video. I will talk with you all soon. Bye.